Hello, YouTube. It's me, John Avenger, once again. And I know I said I wouldn't come back until April, but hey, I want to review one more thing before the month is over because it's the 30th. So tomorrow's the last day of March, and I'm going to be busy next week in April. So we get to talk about this awesome cartoon that came out in 2014, the first season. I have it right here, and it's the last thing with this brand that I really enjoyed, and that is Star Wars Rebels. Yeah, this is the last thing in the franchise that I've enjoyed like immensely. That was around for a couple years. First watched this show on the Disney Channel on Disney XD in 2014. It blew me away. It was very cinematic the way it should be. It didn't have the stupid agendas that were put in KK Wars for the past 4 years. Um, there was a lot of effort put into the animation. Yeah, it's not. They said it's not as good as Clone Wars. The animation's better in Clone Wars, but this I thought was more cinematic than the Clone Wars cartoon because it didn't have a dumb narration in the beginning. It wasn't boring in the first season. I like the characters more. I know I like the characters in the Clone Wars cartoon as well. Obi-Wan, Anakin, Ahsoka, etc. But this one really got me like from the start. You have it follows this kid named Ezra who wants to become a Jedi, and he learns the Jedi ways from Kanan, who's a freaking Jedi himself, and he's a Jedi master. And it takes place between episode 3 and episode 4, so right in the middle, right before Rogue One. But it doesn't have that stain of that. The only thing from Rogue One in this cartoon is in season 4 they had these black stormtroopers that look like TIE fighter pilots on steroids. That's all that was there. You don't have Jyn Erso. You don't have freaking Cassian Andor. You do have Forrest Whitaker's character, but he actually does something in the movie. I think it was I forgot what his name was. It was some Spanish sounding name, but he was there. But that's about it. The voice cast is amazing. Ezra is the guy that he was one of the guys in Bucket and Skinner on Nickelodeon, a failed TV show that he was on. He was wasted. He does a great job as Ezra. Vanessa Morgan does the voice of and not Vanessa. Was it Vanessa Morgan or is it no? Is it Vanessa Morgan? But she does the voice of Hera here. She's the voice of Gamora in the Guardians cartoon. You have what you call it, the voice of Sabine. She's the Indian chick from. She was in Cory in the House. No, not Cory in the House. I lost it. I haven't slept in a while. Sweet Life on Deck. She was the Indian there. She was in 17 again. She's really good as Sabine. She's a female Mandalorian, which they're probably going to put in the freaking the TV show that Disney's doing on Disney Plus next year. That Favreau's directing. You got the droids here. You have Chopper, who's an orange. He's like the BB-8 before BB-8, and he actually has a personality, and he goes, and that's like talking. So I understand. You have Zeb, voiced by Steve Bloom. Fans know him as the voice of Wolverine in the animated series of X-Men in the 90s. And you had other voice actors. This villain right here with the freaking dark eyes and the red paint on his face, he's voiced by Jason Isaacs, who was in Harry Potter. Who else was in the cartoon? Okay, Kanan is voiced by Freddie Prinze Jr. This is his best role in years because he's badass. He's manly. He's not a freaking Joker like he was in the Scooby Doo films. And I didn't even know it was him until I saw the end credits. And yeah, the show, it feels like a film. I like this more than the freaking movies because it doesn't pander. It doesn't have a forced SJW fan fiction character. These people actually have the Force because they're the Jedi's, so it's a power that they're supposed to have, and the Sith, and that's it. Not little kids, not a freaking hobo, not a freaking some random stranger, whatever, or some blind Asian guy in Rogue One. No, it actually works here. And my friend Tevya loves this show. Yeah, it ended on a high note last year. It was badass. The action is really well done. The story actually is a story. It's not retreading stuff from the originals and the prequels. It does its own thing. It has a lot of nods to the Clone Wars cartoon. It has nods to the prequels because you have Darth Maul and you have Ahsoka and you have freaking the what was it, the Clone Troopers. Yeah, you have all of that in this freaking cartoon from season 1 to season 4. And like I said, the characters are likable. They're not played by a bunch of worthless Brits. They're freaking good characters. They don't copy the original characters. They fit into the world of Star Wars. It's proud to be Star Wars without being a copy. You have stormtroopers. You have TIE fighters. You have Darth freaking Vader. That poster I got is from the cartoon. And it's the last thing I enjoyed from it. Yeah. If this was a movie, I would have been in the theater. My ass would be in the theater like right away back in 2014. Because again, it felt like Star Wars again, and it didn't pander, and I love that. And Kathleen Kennedy had nothing to do with this. The creators deserve a hand. The show, it didn't get worse. It was 4 solid seasons of episodes. There were some forgettable episodes, but they came later, and it's rewatchable for me. I watched every episode of the season. I watched most of season 3 and 4. I have to see season 2 again, and it's very cinematic. Like I said, the music, the animation, the atmosphere, the characters, the motivations, the planets that they go to are actually from the originals canon. They're not copying, which I love that. I like originality, guys. Not let's take a franchise that people love and redo it and reheat it and do the same freaking thing just with new actors done worse. Sorry, that's not my Star Wars. This is like my Star Wars. It reminds me of the past, but in a good way. It does fan service that's not forced, and like I said, it makes sense. And Ezra's a better character than Rey. I'm sorry to all you people that were saying, "Oh, he's just like Rey. He's a Mary Sue." No, he has a family and he has a backstory and he trains. He doesn't just use the Force like out of his ass in the first season. He has to learn how to use it to his advantage and how to use the Force for defense and knowledge, not for attack. That's how you do it. That's how the originals did it. That's how this cartoon does it. And the fights are amazing. It's short and sweet. It's not 2.5 hours. It didn't bore me. And it is, in a word, epic. Yes, I agree with this critic, Entertainment Weekly, because I was looking for a cartoon after the Clone Wars kind of disappointed me in 2008. And this was it. This was the successor. It wasn't Forces of Diversity. It wasn't Resistance, which has some of the worst CGI animation I've ever seen in a Star Wars cartoon. And like I said, it's not pandering. That didn't pander, and this didn't pander. And if you've seen this cartoon, or if you missed it because you're afraid it's SJWs, it's not. It's got male and female characters, and they all have a personality of their own that's different and that works for the show. And the voice cast is spot on. You couldn't do a better voice cast if you tried, because Forces of Diversity tried that like a year or two ago, and it failed. And they're not doing any more episodes. And they had to take original characters from the prequels and from the original 3 films and voice them by somebody else and not the original actor. So that doesn't work for me. Here, this works for me. And I love this show. I think it's the best Star Wars anything since the prequels. And like I said, if this came out in like 2009 or something, like after Clone Wars, I would have been fine with it. Now we're oversaturated with this stuff and it's not fun anymore. This was the last ray of hope that I had. And, I can rewatch this. I'm going to get the other seasons and rewatch it and forget episode 9 is even coming out, because that is not going to be, it's not going to end on a high note, guys. I know you're like, oh, you're just a butthurt fanboy. I already have other Star Wars films. I got more Star Wars out of that, and freaking Aquaman than I did with the last 2 movies that I saw. And like I said, this if you were disappointed with Solo, watch this. Watch this series. It's really freaking good. I recommend it. I recommend it to any fan that was hurt by those god awful rehash movies and the spinoffs. This is good. You can't do an honest trailers on this, Screen Junkies, because this honestly is the best thing with that Star Wars name that doesn't pander and doesn't give the finger to the fans. And it has the crawl. Unlike your BS movies, spinoffs, and freaking whatever you're doing later. It's too little too late. This is where it peaked for me. This and the Phineas and Ferb Star Wars special that I saw the same year as this. That's when it was awesome. And then a year later, we got The Force Awakens, and we were never the same. But at least I always have this. So screw you, Kathleen Kennedy. You don't know what you're doing. This did it better than you did. End of story. So thanks for watching, guys. Take care. I'm sorry my commentary didn't come out. I had a lot of technical issues today. This was just not my week. I mean, March was way too freaking long. That's why I didn't do a YouTube video for a while. I was just doing random, posts of the Captain Marvel reactions I had in the theater. I'm going to do that for Avengers, so don't worry. April, I'm not taking any vacations. I'm going to do as many videos as I can. to make up for lost time. But see, Rebels, this is how you do Star Wars in the right hands with the right writers, directors, and freaking producers. Not that heinous of a feminazi freaking Kathleen Kennedy. So thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in April, guys. Later.